Hi there, welcome back. So we've got another Christmas video for you here. Going to use these lovely colours. Lovely mica powders, traditional green and red. Look at the beautiful glitter. I'm loving the glitter, oh my God. Now these two moulds I haven't used for a long time, Might almost be a year maybe, but we've got a pear, P-E-A-R, and also an apple. So they are pots, they are lidded pots. I'll get it round the right way, Laura, that's it. A lidded pots. And I wanted to try and incorporate the mica powder, but also the glitter. So we're going to go with the apple first. And I thought we'd go for red, watermelon red. I was really hoping this was going to be a lot more vibrant than it actually was. So I do add in another colour of mica powder, which some of you won't be surprised at because it's me doing this demo with the mica powder. But what we're going to do, we're going to try and put it down into that pot. Now that's the stalk of the apple. We're going to try. And it was at this point, well, not at this point because I still proceeded to try, realised I'd got a brush that was too big. Way too big. But, you know, the cogs in the brain didn't quite kick in. So I do change the brush out and use a slightly smaller one eventually, you know. Eventually, I'm sure I did. Anyway, so as you can see, I've got quite a lot of mica powder in there, and I thought at this point, wow, that if I just tap that out now, it's going to be quite a lot of wastage. Watch. And also, this lid created a suction down to the surface, which was really strange, but there we are. And I did also look here and I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because if I now try and clean up all of that, it's going to get everywhere. It's just going to get everywhere. I'm not going to get a really good clean mould from this. So I thought, you know, why not? In for a penny, in for a pound, in for some Arteza Aztec Gold mica powder. Surprise! And I'm just doing exactly the same thing as I did with the red and thinking, oh, well, here we go. Never mind. It'll either work or it won't work. Well, I think it does work, and hopefully you've seen the thumbnail shots, so maybe you think the same. There we go. See, look, it was sealing. Look, sealing, and then I'm really having to pull that off of the surface. But there we go. So we've got a sort of orangey gold, reddy colour there, but that's okay. I thought, it's very organic. Let's leave it that way. Quite apt when you're talking about fruit, really. But yeah. So patted it down and realised, oh, it's making like a suction with the surface. But then thought, right, how am I going to, I'm going to have to do this, a bit more of this with the mica powders and so on this mould. How am I going to get it so it doesn't look, I wanted it to look random. And it's very difficult to do things randomly on purpose. I mean, I don't know if any of you have found that, or is it just me? Is it just me? So I gave up with a brush and I went in with my gloved hand. Now, if you're going to do this, do wear gloves. I mean, I wear gloves anyway because I've got high sensitivity to all kinds of things, and even more so to mica powders and stuff like that. So all I've done is everything that I've tipped out or tapped out of the mould when I was doing the stalk part, I've then put back into the mould. But I'm smoothing it round with, and sort of like burnishing. It's like the effect of burnishing it onto the surface of the mould. So that beautiful red and gold. Now, I'm going to turn the mould inside out, which I have done. And then I've realised I've still got a lump of gold mica down there. So I'm just putting it onto my gloved hand and then smoothing it onto the surface. And I realised, here we go, I've got this thinner brush here. Let's just go round some of the surface of the pot part of this apple-shaped mould with some of the different coloured micas. And then I do eventually just do exactly the same technique. I just go over it with my gloved hand. Of course, you don't have to use your hand if you don't want to. You can just, you know, continue with a brush, but obviously maybe a bigger brush than that. But, you know, totally up to you. I wanted to try and get it so you couldn't see any brush marks or any obvious blending parts. I wanted it to blend smoothly and cohesively. So that's what I opted for in the end. So I'm just literally tapping it onto the mould now, and then going round with my gloved hand, smoothing it in and on the surface of the mould. We are. It's very, very reflective of the camera there. You see what I mean? So it really blends really nicely. In some parts you've almost got a bit of an ombre style going on perhaps. There we are. So obviously you need to do the rest of the mould as well. Just getting it off of the brushes. Or maybe even just going on it with a bit more on the brushes. There we go. You see where you've loaded up the brush and not completely tapped everything off of the brush, and then just popping it on to the silicone mould. I'm doing so here. Of course, you don't have to do this. You can just make yourself up some nice red resin, red coloured resin, and you can do that using mica powders. You could do it using a pigment, or maybe a tiny bit of acrylic paint, all mixed in very well and thoroughly into regular resin, and then just pour it. So obviously turn the mould back the right way around and just pour it into your mould. But yeah, I don't forget obviously to do the bottom of the base as well, which I nearly did. Can you see there how it's gone? And I did, I just went straight ahead and I turned it back the right way round, and then immediately thought to myself, oh Laura, you haven't done the outside wall of the mould. That's going to look rather odd. Now I could have left it. Because don't forget we're going to put some glitter into the resin. But yeah, I'll tell you. So I decided no, let's not do that. And I turned it back inside out. Because, you know, a bit like that song, the Okie Kokie, if you know that. In, out, shake it all about. Now, I did overdo it a little bit with the mica. That is... Whoa, that's a lot of colour. That's a lot of rosy colour. But it is quite a rosy, goldeny red colour, which is, you know, it's okay. Obviously, I've never seen an apple like this in real life, but... you know, it's poetic license, it's your creative license. So again, just tapping the mould there, trying to get rid of all the excess mica that might be in there onto the surface. Now this, I then looked at this and thought, this doesn't look like it's got enough on it. It's a very different colour to the base. Maybe need to go in with a bit more of the two different colour micas and bling it up a bit more perhaps, which is exactly what I did here. There we are. But, yes, note to self, sometimes more is not always more. Sometimes more, actually, you should do less. But it's okay. We learn as we go. And you can make this as deeply coloured or as lightly coloured or faintly coloured as you want to. So there we are. So again, just using my gloved hand in the end, because I just found it was easier. And my hands are, I do have gloves on my hands, so I'm protected against any irritation that the mica powder would have presented to me. So again, just tapping it down and then realising it's still creating that suction thing. There we are. Just making sure that any loose little bits of mica have gone. Now, I did go and wash my gloved hands before I then started this one. This is the pear. And, you know, I've opted for beautiful green colour mica powder. Doing exactly the same as I did for the apple, getting right down into the stalk or into the stem. Now, you could do these a completely different colour. You could do them a brown colour if you wanted. Totally up to you. But I stuck with that beautiful Arteza Aztec Gold and this gorgeous, gorgeous green. And yes, you've guessed it. I am going to go in with my hand any moment. There we go. And just blend the colours. So just using my gloved hand to blend the colours in and around on the inner surface of this mould. There we go. Make sure that you do up and underneath the lip or the rim of the mould as well, because that will be on show. Every time you take the lid off, you're going to be able to see it. So turned it upside down, gave it a bit of a tap just to make sure, just checking it. Look at that effect, it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. A bit of a chartreuse green, I think they call that. So again, just tap, 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 make sure that everything is dusted and all the loose bits of mica that might be there have gone. Now we need to do the base part. So I turned it inside out and then literally just covered it with the 2 different mica powders. All I'm doing is loading up my brush and then tapping it over the surface of the mould. There we are. And a bit more there. And I've got some greaseproof paper on the tray that I'm working off of, because it's a nice, easy clean up. And because we've also found that resin doesn't stick to greaseproof paper, which is great. And it's quite cheap, reasonably priced to use. There we go. So we're going in with the gold. Haven't blended any of it yet, as you can see. So as I said, you can just stick to one colour if you like. A gold and a silver would look lovely. So yeah, just smoothing it all in. I was a little bit concerned at this point because it didn't seem to be blending quite so well. So just a little bit more extra effort. This one took a little bit more time just to blend completely. It was looking a little bit mottled in places as well, so I was a little bit concerned about that. But we eventually got it to this stage, and you just perseverance. You can see what my hand looks like. So yeah, it is just perseverance, and you'll get it all lovely, nicely blended. So turn the mould back round the right way. Definitely a chartreuse green, that. Yeah. There we go. Little tap, tap, tap. Get rid of any excess. Make sure you do that base part. I mean, I had completely forgotten about that. So just taking off some excess mica powder from the surface and applying it. So I've mixed up some UV. I've mixed up some regular resin. In here we've got 260 mils. Now I was shocked at the amount of resin this took, and I thought I'm going to do the pear first because it looks like it's the biggest. But it's a 1-to-1 mixing ratio. The resin I'm using, it's Tea Expert. It's the one brand that we're using currently. It's the one that we can find that we like using, and they have some deals on Amazon currently for it. We don't have any special discount or promo codes, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. The only promo code we have currently, which is available and valid until September next year, is the one for BB Craft, and that is 10% off the whole of your order, and the code you need to type in is Lottie10 at the end. But that's with BB Craft, I'm afraid. So, but why not check out their website? They've got lots of lovely things for all things crafting, whether you make jewellery or clay pots, or you work with resin, or you do painting or needlecraft. It's a nice website. It's great. They've got some very good things, good prices, and we've always had very, very good customer service from them. So I've added in some of this beautiful emerald green coloured glitter into the resin. I wasn't sure quite how much to add to start with. Yeah. With hindsight, I should have made up a lot more resin than this for this pear. I was quite amazed at it. And then you get the same amount of ratio of glitter running through it. But it's okay, you know. It mixes, it works. Again, you don't have to add glitter, you can just have clear resin, or you could have just green coloured, solid green colour resin, opaque colour. But there we go, pouring in all that beautiful emerald green glitter. Mixed in with the resin, as you can see there. It's not a solid colour. That's what I love about these glitters. These glitters are from the Range, which is a UK retailer. They do online sales. I don't know if they ship worldwide, I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that. You'll have to contact their customer services and see what they say. But this, as I said, was 260 mils of resin, and we're only just about up to the 3/4 mark in the pot part. We haven't even done the lid. We're in the pot part only of this pear mould, but it's a beautiful mould. So persevere, made up some more, filled it up to the top, and then did exactly the same, filled up the lid part. Now, put a bit in, then took the micro brush again, I love these things, and then just dibbing, is that such a word, dibbing? Just basically placing it up and down into where the stalk part of the top of the pear is in that lid, to make sure there are no trapped air bubbles. You can also just give it a squidge with your fingers if you wanted. But there we go, we're going up to just around where the rim starts, and then taking the micro brush round all the way around underneath there, getting rid of any what might be trapped air bubbles, which looks great. And then we'll top that up. Now, we've made up some more resin. So I think the pair took a total of about 320 mils of resin. I was really hoping that the apple wouldn't do the same thing. But we've got some Tea Expert resin here again, and we've added in that beautiful red glitter. So we're just going to stir it in, zoomed out slightly here so you can see it. Now, just make sure that when you're stirring, you're incorporating the glitter thoroughly into the resin. Just very, very well stirred there. This is some leftover resin that we had because Wayne was doing another video whilst I was, and I said, if you've made up too much, can I have that? So we did a bit of a swap. He had some of the glitter resin that I'd already made up in the green, and I had his clear, so I could add the red and then use it for my project. There we are. Sorry about the very shiny reflection in the moulds there. Lighting, because it gets darker a lot quicker over here in the UK now. Our lights aren't particularly great in the kitchen, so we do have some additional lighting, but it can cause quite bad reflection like you're getting there, so apologies for that. But there we go. So I've added in some more red glitter. Looks lovely. And then pouring it into the lid part of the apple mould. Yeah, just a little bit in to start with. And again, taking the micro brush and then just going down into where the stalk part is. There we are. Just making sure that we haven't got any trapped air bubbles there. There we are. Just in and around. And then topping it up with some more resin. And then I'm just going down again. There we are, because I saw a couple of bubbles. Again, you can give it a bit of a squidge underneath with your fingers. It just encourages any air bubbles that might be trapped there to come up to the surface and to just dissipate, which is what you want. There we go. So just pouring the rest of the resin into the lid part of the apple. And then doing exactly what we did with the pear, just going around underneath that rim there of the lid, hoping to dispel or disperse any air bubbles that might be trapped in there. Now, spoiler alert, I didn't have a lot of luck. I did get some air bubbles, which I didn't know about, in both the lids, the lid for the pear and the lid for the apple, which is a real shame, but I do fix them. I don't show you how I fix them, but I do fix them by mixing in some glitter into some UV resin and then just dropping little bits of UV resin in and curing, and then dropping them in and then curing it, and so on, repeating that process. So we had to make up some more resin. And yep, lovely rich red glitter there. Beautiful red glitter. It reminds me of Dorothy's shoes from The Wizard of Oz, if you've ever seen that film. Beautiful. So now this is a whole 24 hours later. Yes, I was patient and I waited 24 hours to demold. So here we go with the lid. Now I do struggle with demolds only because I wear the white cotton gloves and then I wear a pair of nitrile gloves over the top. So sometimes I have to tag in somebody else to do a bit of demold for me off camera, sometimes on camera. And then I am able to go back to it and do a bit more. So just trying here. I mean, you will not have the struggle that I have. This is purely because, yeah. And look, this is purely because I wear two lots of gloves. We've got a hole there. You've seen it. There's another one coming up any moment now. There we go. So we've got a couple of small holes. Look at the way that's gone reddish gold. It's beautiful. And then the stalk came out intact, which is great. So yes, we've got a little hole there and a little hole there. And that is where an air bubble's got trapped. But there we go with the stalk. That's very deep, beautiful colour. Slight sort of goldish tint to it as well. So Wayne started me off with this, with the base of this one. Yeah. I say he started me off with the base of it. As you can see, I'm still having a few problems. Of course, there are different things that you can do with here. You can spray a little bit of isopropyl alcohol down there. You can put a bit of a dishwashing soap. I don't actually like doing that because I feel it marks it slightly. So here we go. I've tagged in Wayne, who then proceeded to try and demould the apple for me. We've only ever used these moulds once before, so yeah. But they're good quality moulds. I think we actually got these via Amazon. These are not via Temu. These ones are via Amazon. So yeah, so just, and of course going very careful that you're not scratching what you've made as well. That was the other thing. You just have to be very, very careful. There we are. So he gets it to that point and then he tags me back in. Thank you, Wayne. So look at that beautiful red. Now I was a bit worried about the gold mica, but I actually think that looks beautiful. So twist and pull, mould comes out of the mould, and there we go. So we've got a bit of tidy up around the base that we need to do just to take off those sharp edges. We do that by using a deburring tool. That is the lid. Now it doesn't look like it fits particularly well currently. Oh no, that's okay. But look at that. So we've got a little bit of colour difference with the mica powder there, but that's fine. And here we are with the pear. And I just gave up straight away and said, Wayne. So here we have tagged in Wayne again. It's my tag team partner when it comes to doing demoulds now. So he's just carefully trying to, this is the base part of the pear. This is the one that took up a lot of resin. So we're just going carefully and trying not to scratch it. Here we are, just going to try again. Once you've released a suction of it onto the resin, you're okay. It will come out. There we go. Get in there, get in there, get in there. We thought we'd leave this all in at the regular speed as well. So you can see exactly, you know, what we come up against, the struggles that we have. So that you know, if you're going to buy this kind of mould, you know what to expect, and then maybe learn from our mistakes. You know, if you would do anything any differently, then, you know, and you know it works for you, then do that. Do that. By all means, do that. He's getting there. He's getting there. Gosh. It's be worth it in the end. Trust the process. This is what you keep saying to yourself when you're seeing this being done, or if you're doing it yourself. Trust in the process. But there we go. Almost out. Oh, and a little sneaky preview there. Looked really good. So back to me. I get to do the easy bit. Look at how beautiful that looks with the gold as well. I was really pleased these did turn out as well as they did, considering I'd added the gold mica, because I was a little bit worried. So as the bottom there, you can see we've got a little bit of a rough edge that needs to be sorted out with a deburring tool. But that looks really, really stunning. So here I am. This is the deburring tool. Now, some people have a real problem trying to control this because the blade is quite flexible, and yeah, it just takes a little bit of practice. So just take it nice and slow. Don't try and do lots of big pieces at once. Just do little and often, or little and then repeat, until you feel that that surface is nice and smooth. It's not sharp. Now, the only thing is because there's a lot of glitter, although it gets rid of the sharpness, it doesn't make it nice and like really smooth. So what I actually did, and I didn't show this, is I did go around that with a little bit of UV resin with some green glitter in, and cured it just to make sure that it was nice and sort of smooth. Now here we go, demoulding the lid again. I've got a big air bubble. I'm not having a lot of luck. In fact, there's a few on this one, which is a real shame. But I do repair those. I do fill them in with some UV resin with some green glitter. Now, if you're wondering how I stopped it from going over the edges, I put on some vinyl tape. Now, you will have seen Wayne using vinyl tape in the video that he did with all the lovely hanging Christmas decorations. If you haven't seen that, then why not check it out? But I did use some of that, put it around the edge to create a dam or a barrier, and then filled it up. But look at that, that looks stunning too. So I'm going to leave you with the finishing shots. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Our Christmas themed fruit, the pear and the apple. We will see you again very, very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. Don't forget, like, share and subscribe, by the way. And yeah, as I said, we'll see you again very soon with some more videos. Take care. Bye.